Okay, well, good to see everybody. And after reviewing the tape, we're starting to become the football team that I'd hoped that we could become. We've certainly got some areas to improve, but I do think it was probably the most complete game that we've had this year. So we're pleased with that. If we've kind of flipped around what we talked about or some of our struggles early in the year, starting fast. So I thought we started fast on offense and defense. I know we got some 3-and-outs at the beginning part of the game, and along with that, we were able to get some big plays. Certainly was, pleased with X's performance, and a lot of that can be contributed to or attributed to his ability. But along with that, the offensive line ability, I thought they did a really nice job. And a lot of guys are playing. Frank Crum, for a redshirt freshman, came in, played really well, so we're really pleased with that. Really pleased with Sean Chambers. Thought he did some really good things. He was always cleared to play, but at halftime we didn't feel like he could go in and functionally operate as well as what Tyler could. And so it was good to see Tyler out there. It was good, strong performance in our kicking game, and I think we beat a good football team. So we're going to utilize this bye week like we normally do. We'll take advantage of the time to work on some fundamentals, certainly prepare heavily for Boise State, and then we've got to get some guys healthy. So at this time, I'll open up to any questions anybody might have. Yes.
Any update on Sean's knee injury, and if you will hold any guys out this week, maybe longer than usual, their practice to try to heal?
Well, we're going to get some more information, Davis, as the day goes along. We did MRI Sean's knee just as a precaution to make sure he's okay. All the signs, structurally, everything was good, but I'll get some more information as the week goes along with him. As far as anybody else, I think we're going to monitor how many reps we give to certain guys, but it's important. We've got to continue to improve, and we're coming down. We've got a big ball game coming up, and so we'll utilize our time well to prepare and strike a balance between being fresh and prepared.
X has been getting a lot of carries lately. Is there any update on Trey and Titus?
I would say Trey is probably at the very tail end of our regular season, optimistically. Titus may be a week ahead of that, and so we'll see. He's making good progress. The injury he had was non-surgical, which was encouraging, but anytime you're running back, that takes a little bit more effort to get back, simply because you got to have that thrust as opposed to maybe some other positions.
Obviously, we got the news about the resignation of Willie Mack.
Yep.
Can you elaborate on that at all?
Sure. Well, I'm not going to elaborate a lot. He resigned, and we're moving forward. We shuffled our coaching staff around. Jake Dickert's going to be coaching the safeties, and Aaron Bohl's going to be the interim linebacker coach. So that's where we're at, and we'll move forward with that grouping.
Craig, is that disappointing at all when you gave him sort of put a shot on him and gave him a shot?
I'm going to hold any comments. We've made our statement, and we're going to move forward. I understand why you're asking, but that's my response.
Any reaction on your part to the Mountain West recognizing us as a player of the game?
Well, I just heard that. I can see that. I thought he really played well, and not only just being productive. I thought he broke a lot of tackles and broke into the secondary, made some big plays, and certainly had the big play in the passing game. So he's continuing to improve. He's durable, and he's making a lot of big plays, so we're pleased with that.
He's not a big body guy. Does it surprise you to see him have that type of strength that he has in these situations?
It really does. He's under 200 pounds, but I think he packs a big punch, and he's very explosive. And he's able to utilize his body position well. He runs with, carries his pads over his toes, and he's a hard guy to tackle. Yes.
Craig, when you saw you guys' schedule come out and you saw November, A, what was your reaction, and B, have you faced sort of a tougher stretch of conference games since you've been here?
Well, I don't know. Since I've been here, I think we may have. I certainly feel like we've got a deeper football team, an emerging football team, so we're pleased with that. I would say myself, and along with our colleagues, you recognize, there's going to be some challenges, some more games more so than others, but every coach takes them one at a time, which we're going to do. I'm glad that we've got a bye week right now. I think it's well needed. And we're going to get ready to play Boise State, and that's our focus. Yes.
The fact that your team is so young, do you think it helps you to have the games pushed to the back as opposed to having to play these games maybe earlier?
Every game is important, and so I'm going to be really guarded as far as talking about some of our opponents as opposed to some of the upcoming opponents. I do think everybody recognizes, if you look at the records that we're going to be playing, we're certainly playing teams coming down the stretch. I believe they all have winning records right now. Maybe Colorado State does, but they came up with a big win. So you're looking at some traditional games on the mountainside, and so they'll all be important, and we're going to take them one at a time.
How do you, you guys are trying to get healthy over this bye week. How do you kind of balance that with keeping your edge and wanting to go hard?
Well, there's probably a little bit more art than science. We do have some science. We look at GPS numbers and things like that, and certainly listen to sports medicine. What can ensure a guy to make sure he's 100% by the time we play Boise. However, it's important to continue to improve as a football team, and that means working on fundamentals and schemes. And you can do so much in meetings, and you can do some things in walkthrough, but you need to replicate some things in practice, which we'll do. But I think we've got a pretty seasoned coaching staff. There's a measured decisions that we'll make as we go, as how much contact to have, what type of contact, and who's going to have that contact.
Will you guys be out recruiting too?
I will be out recruiting, but we've utilized almost all our recruiting days, and so it'll be all hands on deck, which is a good time to have all our coaches on deck. We planned that out simply because exactly kind of where we're at right now with the weather. We try to do most of our off-campus recruiting before weather comes into play. Yes, Davis.
Here in your 6th year, you're bowl eligible. Before November gets here, you're squarely in contention. Is this what you envision, the part of your program?
Well, thanks for bringing that up, because I've been asked where we said. And when we sat down with Tom, I remember talking about his desire to play Cowboy tough football and what that all embodies, and it wasn't going to be a quick fix. And so I think we're to the point now where we need to put the pedal to the metal and start pushing. But I think things are beginning to come into play to where there's foundational building blocks for some long-term success. If you look at our roster right now, we certainly have appreciated some of our seniors, particularly the 5th-year seniors. But if you also look, Davis, there's a lot of young players that are there. So beyond worrying about what the future looks like, we're looking at what we can do right now. But this is where I thought we would be. And, it's fun. I always say this, people remember November, and we're playing very meaningful games in November, and that means a lot to Cowboy fans, and it means a lot to our program. Yes.
Have you noticed, obviously you can't say names, but have you noticed an uptick in your recruiting abilities after what you've done in the first 5 years?
Yes, there's a couple things. Recruits are looking at, what kind of educational experience they're going to get, and we've got a great school, and as a coaching staff, we've become much more familiar with the majors and what kind of opportunities there are for guys. And then along with that, you combine that with our facilities, and then along with that, stability. Our coaching staff's been together a long time, and the university's made a significant commitment to myself, and I've made a significant commitment to the university. So recruits are looking for stability. They're looking for a place to get a meaningful degree and win games, and we're on that upward trajectory. So it's opening up a lot of guys who are interested. However, where some schools stumble is they forget to dance with who brung them. There's a formula that we have, and identifying the guy that wants to buy into the Wyoming profile. And sometimes coaching staffs will begin to say, okay, we can recruit these other guys now, and they have more stars behind their names. And that really has not been our litmus test. We look at what we see, but I can tell you a lot of these guys are certainly having more opportunities, and they're taking a hard look at the Cowboys. Yes, David.
Just your initial impression on Boise and having to go on the road up there and playing those guys.
Well, I'm glad they got new turf. I've been complaining about that. I know it's blue, but it looks new, and that's great. We have a great deal of respect for Boise State, their administration. Brian does a marvelous job as a head football coach. I do know they win a lot of football games there. But this is going to be a new opportunity for us. I feel confident that we have a fortified football team coming in, as opposed to maybe hoping some things with smoke and mirrors. I think we've got some good players. They have some very good players too. We've watched and gone through, and meticulously gone through their tape. They've got a great winning tradition, and their players play with that tradition. They have a lot of ability as well, and so their record at home, I think, has got to be one of the top records in college football. And we're excited about going and playing. I know it's going to be a 8:15 game, I guess. It's been announced. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's going to be on ESPN. Normally those games are on ESPN too, but it's going to be on ESPN. So I think that also gives you maybe an indication of the gravity of the game.
Do you see that as an opportunity maybe to kind of get on the national scale?
Well, I think anytime you compete in our league, you have an opportunity to get on a national scale. But, I voted Boise fairly high in the coaches poll. I don't know where Davis has rated them in the AP poll. Maybe I should ask you, Davis, are you at liberty to say?
20th.
Way low. You're underselling them. But they're a nationally rated team, and they're a national brand. Anytime you have a chance to play a nationally rated team in the national brand, that changes the profile. I know that game's going to be a heavily watched game and a great opportunity for our program.
Craig, you're 2/3 of the way through the season, yet you've only played one opponent in your division. Would you like to see that spread out more evenly through the season?
Yeah, I don't know how the Mountain West does it. Somebody said there's some fancy computer they have when they do all this. We play them like they come, and so our guys are excited about that. I can tell you, though, we have much more familiarity with the schools that are up and down the range and the mountainside, and if you looked at the teams now, we had a great ball game against San Diego State, and some people may say, how in the world can you say it was a great ball game, Coach? You lost the game. I thought our guys competed that night, and I think San Diego State's a good quality team. We came up short, but I can tell you the mountainside has got some really, really good football teams, and I think the records indicate it. The non-conference play indicates it, and it'll be a challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, I know there's some people on the line that were not able to make it over today. Any questions or any further questions from? Yes, Davis has another question.
Damn, I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Next question, we'll move on. I think you're getting old.
I am.
Yeah. So,
Craig, is there any update on Eric Abodir and Alonzo Velasquez?
I would say both of those guys are going to, they're going to have surgery, and the likelihood of them returning before the end of the year would be remote, certainly for Eric. I think that'll be a pretty significant operation, but the long-term outlook looks good. Alonzo Velasquez may be a little bit different, we'll know, but he is going to also go into some surgery too. So our offensive line they're doing a great job. All those guys, it's kind of the next man up mentality, and Coach Miller's doing a good job with those guys as well.
With the new 4-game rule for the true freshmen, can we expect to see some true freshmen play here?
Mm-hmm. Well, we've discussed that as a coaching staff. What we're doing is anybody that can help us win, we play. And so a lot of the guys who may be eligible to play, just because there's 4 games left, we will not insert them unless they bring value to giving us an opportunity to win. We do think at times as the season progresses with injuries and things like that, it certainly is an opportunity to play some guys, and there's some guys that we'll take a look at during the course of this week. I'm not going to name names, but in a bye week it gives us an opportunity to work with some younger guys, and so you may see some new guys out there, and that's why you either need to go to the game or watch it on ESPN. Yes.
I know it is. You guys have obviously gotten much more production of the passing game, and you're about to face 3 of the top 5 defenses in the Mountain West over this last month. Has it been important to establish that confidence, get some of that production going into these games?
I think it's been imperative. Sean's worked hard. Our receivers have worked hard on the route trees and the protection with the offensive line, all those things have come together. Anytime that you become so one-dimensional, while we want to hang our hat on running the football, I think it exposes a defense much more when you have the ability to throw and score. And so we're demonstrating that. And so while our numbers are not where they need to be, they're certainly improving, and the arrow looks up. Sean's throwing the ball. I thought it was his best game as far as his progression, his reads, where he placed the ball. And so it was a good game by our guys catching. I think we had maybe one drop. Rocket had a drop, but he had a couple other really big catches. So, you know, we're not so one-dimensional, and so that's going to be something we focus on. You know, it's going to take all the gas we got in the tank to win this next game. Yes.
Did you catch any of the Eagles-Bills game yesterday with Josh Carson?
I caught just a little bit. I was flipping through some stuff, but Sunday routines get a little bit hectic. You know, I was asked by a lot of people nationally called in and wanted to know who I was pulling for. I was pulling for both guys. Any other questions? Okay, hey, thanks for coming in today.